Louise. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. It's been
Oh,
hectic.
it honestly has been. I'm so excited you came to chat with me though. Thank you for making time. I know how busy it is with a little one at
Oh,
home.
no, it's good to take time out. I love your
Just wait.
shelves.
Yeah, I have a problem with books. This isn't even the main bookshelf. That's in the other room. But this is my current one.
Yes, I have that same problem. So this is my TBR slash books I've completed, and then my main ones are in my living room as well.
Yeah,
So I have to cull my books every few months just to make sure I have enough room. If
I'm
only I
terrible at
had
that.
enough time to read all of them. But you know how
It's
it is.
hard. It is hard.
Yeah.
Although I got a lot of reading done while I was feeding babies.
I loved putting on audiobooks while I was
Oh,
feeding the baby and everything. And it'll just be
that's
running on in the background, which was helpful.
that's a great idea. Although when I had my first, this is how old I am, there were no smartphones. There was nothing. So when you were trapped patting a baby to sleep at night or whatever, you were really, really on your own. It was very
Oh,
compared to my last baby, that sounds terrible. My youngest. That's better.
yes.
She's and she's 7 now. So yeah.
Oh.
And it wasn't so lonely.
Yeah, I had friends who had babies within a few months, and whenever they caught up on messages, it's like, "Are you feeding again?"
You get
Yep.
one-handed everything, or depending on where you're at. And even if you have to, because I used to comp feed, and if you have to hold a bottle, there was a lot of wrangling to try and get hands spare because you have to hold it up. What a pain.
I know, I know.
Sorry.
Oh my
I
gosh.
do,
No, that's so good.
I do love them very much.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no, they have difficult times,
Yeah.
definitely.
So are you still working or have you been able to stay home?
So I work at the bank on their website, so I'm very lucky to be able to work from home, which so I've been
That's great.
working a, like part time at the moment, a few days a week. So yeah, it's been tough, isn't it? What strange times we live in at the moment. Have you
Yeah.
ended up keeping your kids in school, or are they out now?
They're out. My oldest had to
Mm.
go in a little bit longer because she's grade 11. So she had to do exams where they just went in and did their exam and then came home. That finished Wednesday last week. So she was the last one to stay home. And it's hitting her hard. I don't know what teenagers are going to do. The socialization, that's so important. Now that it's dawning on her how long this is going to be and what it means,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell her. I don't know what to do.
Oh, I've actually been really grateful that we live in a time where there's video calls. Yeah, which is part of the reason why we're chatting now. But
Yeah.
almost every day I try and video call, whether it's my parents or a friend or someone, just to
Yeah.
check in. And
Yeah.
like it does wonders, because otherwise you just feel so isolated.
Yeah.
Um,
And do you do any
yeah.
hobby stuff at home apart from reading?
I mean, outside of my Instagramming and
Yeah.
blogging and reading, that even trying to fit that in is quite difficult these days, juggling a baby and work pretty much, and then chores. So,
They're the,
yeah, no, straight after the baby was born, I think I took it for granted how much they slept then, even though it seemed like it was all the time, when all hours of the day they would be up. But these days, she's my little baby, she's 15 months now. She started
15 months.
walking.
Yeah.
I know.
That's hard. They can get
I
into
know.
everything.
So I can't take my eyes off her. So I've just been like, oh my gosh, are you gonna fall over? And we have tiles, so she took a
Oh,
step. Yeah, she took a step and then like banged her forehead on the tiles, and then I was like, don't freak out, don't freak out. And then so you calm the baby, and she's got like this massive bruise on her head, and I'm like, oh no, it's the first of many to come.
yeah. We had, because I've
Yeah.
had tiles before, and what I got was, like the yoga mat stuff,
Yes.
like that. But I went, and obviously right now this is a bit stuffed, but I used to go like to Clark's Rubber and get a big sheet, a big rectangle sheet of it, as much as I could afford. And I'd put it outside and dribble the hose on it, or I'd have it inside, like where they tended to try and walk and fall, because it just had that little bit. And I know they have those big jigsaw ones that they sell, but mine figured out you could try and eat the edges.
Yes, they do.
And so there'd be all these teeth marks, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. It doesn't look like it's going to hold together.
No.
But yeah, these big mats, there weren't as many edges, so they would kind of leave it alone a little more. But that's how I managed to. And actually, one that I got was this really lovely purple colour. So all the photographs of the baby at that point have this lovely purple background, with like watermelon everywhere. Or the hose was a big one, but it's getting cold now. So just those sorts of things to try. We had a lot of injuries.
Oh, I know.
With that.
I know. That's a good idea though. Because I did get one of those big play mats, but it covers like a small corner of the tiling. So, and they're quite expensive to get. So
they are. And our dogs, they pee on any rugs. So we can't. Well, my little one does. I have a golden retriever as well, and he doesn't. He would never do that. He's fast asleep over there, but or he should come and say hello to Toby.
Yeah, but, how old is your one?
He's about 4, buddy. He's so asleep.
3. That's all right.
Yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they? So he sheds hair everywhere, which is a bit of a nightmare. Yes. Oh my goodness, endless shedding.
Oh, I know. I had to keep me sane. I had to get a robot vacuum, and
I've got one.
Yeah.
I just forget to put it on.
I know. My one like runs a program, so it just puts itself on twice a week. But anything to reduce that dog hair. Oh my gosh!
And they slip. The kids slip on it because it's a tuft of, it kind of rolls like tumbleweeds down the hallway if I haven't caught it in time. I've slipped on it before.
I know. And my dog's on the couch, so oh my gosh, it got to a point where there was so much build up, and I'm like, I think I'm allergic to the dog. Which made me really sad because I'm like, how come I haven't noticed it before? And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm spending a lot more time at home now.
Yes. We figured out my daughter is my oldest because she helped me grooming them, little one and that, and you could just see she just started streaming. But the dog hair on the couch. Another one. It's hard. When we're all home all the time and the kids are eating and there's crumbs everywhere as well. So it's like, this just disgusting. Kids are gross. Dogs are gross. Why do we do this?
I know. And then so Amelia, she's at the stage where she puts everything in her mouth. So when I give her snacks or something and it drops on the ground and then she goes to put it in her mouth, I'm like, no, do not eat that. It's got dog fur all over it. It's so gross.
Then again, at least the dog cleans up a lot. I did a few years without a dog and a child throwing food on the floor. And I remember have that moment where you come back in and you're like, it's still there. Like the food. What? You mean I've got to get down and clean it up? There's no dog to go and just... Oh, that's disgusting.
No, it's been a godsend. Because when I go to restaurants and she's in the high chair, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much food is left over on the ground. Whereas these days I'm just like, Toby.
No, they do.
That's so true. Oh my god.
Yep. And our Cavalier just sleeps under the dining table when we're eating because he just waits underneath, and there's always going to be something that drops and I see a little head pop out, and then Buddy's a bit too big, so he's a bit slower, he misses out a bit, he gets a bit upset, he just pulls that sad face. I've missed out again. But they're getting a lot more love now. I don't know about you, but walking dogs and...
So before the whole isolation thing, we were feeling a bit guilty because we're like, oh, we haven't walked a dog in a while. He's getting a bit kooky and he's a big dog. So, he goes he gets the zoomies and goes around, and in the middle of the night he's like, walk me Dad, walk me, and he jumps on Dad with his front paws. So these days he gets at like 1 or 2 walks a day and he's happy.
This is my book question for you, because you know so much about all your books and everything. Do you think we should be writing the virus into the books?
I think it's going to get in there eventually. So in a few years' time, you'll probably see a lot more dystopian type reads, because a lot of people like to read what they, write what they know. And when you think about it, it's kind of like a time that will go down in history. So, you know, there's like a lot of emotions that you're feeling at the moment, like the loneliness, the despair, you know, things like that. And I think that will make its way into people's creative processes. What do you think?
I can't make up my mind if it will age, or if people just want to not think about it, or if it's a really good excuse for contemporary writers to get to write dystopian because it's real now.
Yeah,
I really like the idea of spec fic, and you know, and I like reading dystopian or utopian fiction, whichever. But because I started with contemporary, I'm kind of got to keep going that way for a while, and I thought, is this my excuse to write the dystopian stuff I like? And it's reality.
It really is. And one of my favorite Aussie YA like kind of post-apocalyptic books was The Sky So Heavy by Claire Zorn. And that one was so it's an Aussie setting, and that one was when the supply suddenly stopped, and and then like the electricity turns off, and then this boy is looking after his baby sister, and they suddenly have to go out to the groceries, and they start hoarding supplies, and then the neighbors sort of turn on one another because they don't know what's gone wrong. And then when you think about it, back then it was sort of post-apocalyptic dystopian fiction, but a lot of, when I think about that book now, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so realistic. And I saw the Lily Wilkinson one. What was that one?
After the Lights Go Out.
Yes, that one as well.
Perfect. With, preppers.
Yeah, I know. Because I remember reviewing that book, and I'm like, oh my gosh, all these, you know, the dad was seemed a bit over the top and loopy, but these days, so the dad in that book was prepping everything from, you know, toilet paper to, and he had a bunker where he held everything.
Yeah.
And then these days,
and medical supplies.
Yeah,
he had all the medical supplies.
I know.
And bees.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it just makes you think of what you take for granted. I mean, simple things like toilet paper. Like you would have never thought that. Like, I didn't think I would see the day where I went to the shops, and so I was lucky enough that it was on my day off, and so I was able to go to the shops, and you know, so everyone was just, you know, rushing into Aldi with all their toilet packs. The guy came out to restock them, and he pretty much got mobbed by everyone, and he had to tell people to back off. He's like, guys, if you guys can just let me out, I will go into the back and get more.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Just things like that. Like
it really happened. Like, I saw it on the news.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
And people starting fights over toilet paper. Have you seen those on YouTube?
I saw a little bit, that appears. I tend to not watch because it really upsets me. I'm like, what? He did stab? Someone got tasered.
What?
What? Who has a taser anyway?
Oh dear.
We haven't even had toilet paper for that long, you know, in terms of human history.
I know. And you just wonder, because you wonder what the rest of the world thinks of Australians seeing video footage of that happening.
I know. Not that the opinion was probably great, but it's worse now that we're all a bit obsessed with toilet paper.
I know. And even just going to the stores and seeing how there's limits on everything, that just feels so
Yeah.
surreal, doesn't it?
That's hard for
Yeah.
my mum. My mum wanted to get enough of things, even with ordering. She orders online. She's old, so she can
Oh,
do
that's
that.
good. That's good she
But
can do that.
she can't get more than, like, so to just limit exposure, she's like, well, I would get this much of whatever so that you don't order as often, but you're not
Mm,
allowed. So it
I
increases
know.
exposure, but then people are being unreasonable.
I know. I felt really sad the other day because um, when you think about it, like the government says it'll last for 6 months, and then you just wonder what the world will look like on the other side, with how many small businesses will still be there, like, you know, your favorite cafes, your favorite restaurants, even like, you know, my masseuse or my physio, just
Yeah,
things like that, like things that you've always taken for granted, and yeah,
yeah,
like whether they'll still be afloat or they'll do something else. And
yeah.
a lot of the restaurants I know, they've turned into takeaway. I don't know if because you know, I live in Brisbane, so we have a lot
Me
of
too.
restaurants
Yeah,
around the area. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Um, anyway, so yeah, one of the restaurants near us turned into takeaway only. And then I called them up yesterday and they're like, oh, no, sorry, we've decided just to close because we can't get any food, like any supplies in.
Oh
It's so
no.
weird because of the limits.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, so they can't get enough
yeah,
food to cook.
no. And
You'd
then
think,
yeah, you'll think they would make a concession, but it turns out, yeah, even the suppliers have to cut off at some point.
oh my
Yeah,
goodness. And there are a lot of people rely on the takeaways. Just,
absolutely.
being able to cook everything yourself isn't always possible. Wow.
No, not with kids and everything else going
There are days
on.
we don't eat a lot of
Yeah,
takeaways, but when I do, I want it to just be there.
I
And
know,
I
I
want it to be
know.
there when we come out of this. And I know they were saying, I was reading something that we can't just go, okay, now we can all go out or all the cases will spike. So it's going to be a slow
Absolutely.
coming out of, it'd be,
Yeah.
you know, like Punxsutawney Phil coming out to see what the weather
Mm,
looks like, and we're only allowed to poke our heads out for a bit and come back in. And yeah, I hope the kids adjust, because at least we can understand more and our lives are longer. So percentage
I
wise, it's less
know.
time, but for them, that's,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
their
that's a
whole
big
lives.
whack of their life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting. It's interesting seeing how businesses are adapting, though. Like I was thinking about, you know, fresh veggies and fruit. Where will you get that from? So they're doing a lot of deliveries now. Like a lot of the farmers
Yeah.
are just delivering fruit and veg boxes, which is interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because of
think it's
the
a great,
ban.
it's local as well. So, you know, you're getting the produce from not far away. We used to get them delivered anyway, but we
Hmm,
didn't eat things fast enough. That was a bit problematic. But we probably would now. We have more time to cook more food from scratch.
exactly.
So
And it's not lying around the supermarket where everyone's just handling it.
I
Yeah.
got a package the other day, and so I sprayed it and then I left it, and then I had to open that layer, and then the inside layer was in another, like, so it was plastic and then it was cardboard inside the
Mm.
plastic, so I kind of sprayed that, and then the inside that was another layer of plastic, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how much do I have to clean this until I can touch it?
Oh
I
no.
keep thinking, how long, how many hours since that was held, or, you know, and then they keep dropping
Yeah.
packages on the door, and then they knock and then they run away. So the
Yeah.
dogs go bonkers, and you feel really mean not saying thank you. And,
I know.
but then when they knock at the
Oh,
door,
my postie has always just dropped it off. Hmm?
yeah, I always put that as a setting, but some of them wanted signatures, but then not now.
Mm. No,
But I did
not
think,
anymore.
what if you answered the door and someone was there and then they coughed? You'd be
Oh
like,
yeah.
there's a novel starter.
There you go. Oh my gosh. Oh, speaking of novels, how does it feel to have your one out soon?
Oh, it's a bit surreal. I think I'm
Mm.
nearly at the point where I'm accepting that it is going to come out and launch, because it's been far enough away that I keep putting it off mentally. I just was thinking more
Yeah.
about now and what was happening with other people's launches.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be great, actually, especially given a lot of my audience being neurodivergent. All the online options are actually really accessible. So
Oh, that's
that's,
fantastic.
yeah. And I started my vlog because I wanted to do more online stuff for those people, for those readers. And that was lucky because I figured out the technology before all this happened.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
well, apart from Zoom things, but yeah, it's just
Yeah.
getting creative, I think, with it all, just trying to think outside the box. And there's this lovely sense of community going on with and between, like with the Oz chat. I wanted to make sure it wasn't just writers or just people doing debuts or just anything. I just wanted it to be everyone in the whole industry, which includes bloggers and vloggers and booktubers, and I never quite know the right word for what everybody does. And
Book people.
book people and the sellers and the publishers, although I can't get my editor to come on because she's a bit camera shy.
Yes.
But you know, I'll keep working away. But just because I think it affects everybody, and I know it's nice that everyone's helping debut authors, and I'm not complaining, I'm all for that. But there are a lot of people who had a book come out 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago. They might still be affected. And yeah, and us having less time to do, like you having less time because you're now having to wrangle home life and work being a little bit more crossed over than you might have hoped. It's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's really great that you'll set up OzCat, and I think I saw the is it the authors
Oz Authors
on?
Online.
Yeah, that sounds awesome as
It's
well.
so much fun.
I know, and it's always been like we've got quite a great book community in Australia, but it's been hard to get everyone together unless you can, fly to certain events. So I don't know, this will be.
Yeah, but now we've
really
kind of got access to Melbourne launches and Perth
Yeah.
launches, Adelaide launches. We get to see so much more. It's great.
Absolutely. No worries.
Thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you all stay well and keep
Thank
reviewing.
you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. I can't wait to read your book, and thanks for having me.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
The number you have dialed has been changed.